What's going on, my fellow Belmonts? It's the Mad Belmont here, and welcome back to my channel. This video right here signals the start of, well, the proper start of what I like to call the Summer of Silent Hill. This is a themed series that I'm going to do every single summer, so June, July, and August. I am going to have a set of Silent Hill themed videos for you all for the entire summer. And this could cover any Silent Hill topic, but mostly this year I do want to focus on Silent Hill 2 because we have the remake coming out later this year. So I do want to focus on that mostly for this year. But any other year, it's going to be a wide array of Silent Hill related topics. I could talk about the first game, the second game, the third game, anything like that, and nothing. You see, you need to stop telling this story right about now. And here is why. Because you cannot stay on topic. All you do is go on side tangents. All you do is ramble on. So why don't you save these lovely people some time and just shut up? Who the hell is this bozo? And what are you doing in my house? Well, I'm glad you asked, you pleb. You see, I am Jerkface McGee, a certified stunt muffin who let himself in through the back door, which was conveniently unlocked. I really need to lock my doors. Anyway, now that that's all out of the way, let me just get into the topic here. So I'm going to be talking about how I got into the Silent Hill franchise as the first proper video and why it is my favorite horror gaming franchise out there. Let's go. I first got into the Silent Hill series back in 2002. A lot of great things happened in 2002, from the first live action Scooby-Doo movie.
What up, dog? And, dog?
Keeping it real.
To Like Mike.
Players don't ask players for autographs.
Wait,
Player?
after the game?
To even The Ring, Ghost Ship, and Dog Soldiers in the horror world. Speaking of horror, I was introduced to that wonderful genre back then, and you can find out how in this video that just popped up in the corner over there. After I got introduced to horror through movies, I decided to go and find myself some good horror games, and I played the first 3 Resident Evil games, which I enjoyed, and it grew my hunger for more horror gaming goodness. This is where I was introduced to Silent Hill. One of my friends in school at the time told me about him renting the game and how it literally chilled me to the bone, dude, to quote him directly. Naturally, my curiosity had piqued by this, and I just had to see what he was talking about, because after playing, enjoying, and being terrified of Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3, I thought there was no way a game could match those games from the perspective of outright terrifying the player. Boy, would I ever get proven wrong, and fast. I rented the game one day when I saw it on the shelf in the PS1 section of my local rental store, Movies to Go, which, yes, I've mentioned many times before in videos here on this channel, but that is because I rented games back in the day. That's how I would play a lot of games, is I would go there to Movies to Go or to my other local rental store, which was Family Video, and I would just rent games. Yes, I am old enough to remember when rental stores were a thing, and I also remember when VHS tapes were still a thing. Oh my god!
I'm old! I beg your pardon?
Okay, calm down, Belmont. You're only 28, and you're turning 29 in 2 months. There's no need to overreact. You're not old. You're not old. Anyway, once I rented the game and got home, I made sure to wait until it got dark outside so I could turn the light off in my room and get the full horror experience. You know, being in that room with nothing but the TV light, that is the perfect experience when it comes to horror. When I started playing the game, I was immediately drawn into the atmosphere because it's built up so well in that first Silent Hill game. Walking through the town of Silent Hill, being oppressed by the fog that surrounds the town, and seeing the snow that comes down. Also, seeing the camera angles and them being all cinematic. You know, you go from it being your typical third person behind the shoulder view, and then it switches to the cinematic kind of up close view, then it'll switch to an overhead view, and I like that a lot, and it helped me to immerse me in that world and in that town. But what hooked me on Silent Hill the most was the fact that Team Silent, the devs who made the original trilogy at Konami, chose to focus on storytelling, character development, and atmosphere over the visceral scares and action, along with the atmosphere that you would see within the Resident Evil series. Not to mention, the characters within the Silent Hill series are just normal, average people who have hardly any experience with combat, so you can relate to them on that front and get more immersed into the games even more as a result, because you're not going through and dealing with a bunch of cops and military people and stuff like that like you would in Resident Evil, so it makes it more relatable to you as an average human being. Now, I might not have understood anything that was going on with the story in Silent Hill at the time, because I was just 7 years old after all, so it went straight over my head, but I love how it was different from Resident Evil. And that's what made me a Silent Hill fan in the first place, as well as what I said earlier about the storytelling and all that stuff, was how different it is compared to other horror games, and specifically Resident Evil. Not only because of its emphasis on that storytelling and character development that I mentioned, but also the gameplay changes that it made. No longer did I have to worry about limiting how much I carried, because the inventory wasn't limited. The ammo still was, which I was fine with. I can stomach that. But if I saw something on the ground, like a key or a key card or a freaking steel pipe, I didn't have to craft a master plan with a blueprint like you would in an Ocean's 11 type of situation to get everything, obtain all the items, and still have inventory space left, because I didn't have to worry about that. Plus, like I said, instead of a knife, which you can still get, I could just pick up a steel pipe and swing it at monsters, which, by the way, is so satisfying. I love it. I love it. I love it. But anyway, after I played, beat, and enjoyed the first Silent Hill, I jumped into the second game because it had been released by the time I got into the series. It released in 2001, and that game right there, that cemented me as a Silent Hill fan for life. Seeing the leap that happened from Silent Hill 1 to Silent Hill 2 blew my 7-year-old mind. The graphics were insane. They were super realistic to me at the time. Okay, you gotta remember, this is 2002 here. Okay, the gameplay was still the same as in Silent Hill 1, which I didn't mind, because the gameplay, yes, it has aged rather poorly, but I'm used to it by this point, so yeah. The music was better in the second game, drastically better. The story was also better, I feel, and really everything about that game was better. It was the perfect definition of a sequel, and I will go into more detail on Silent Hill 2 in a separate video that I have in the works during this Summer of Silent Hill season here, because that game means a lot to me personally, and I'll go into detail in that video. But also, having played both Silent Hill 1 and 2 in such a short period of time caused me to have the most insane nightmares for about a month, I'd say. And with that being said, they both did their jobs, that's for sure. They terrified me because they both had on me what I like to call the Freddy Krueger effect. Okay? The reason why I call it that is because it terrified me so much. It terrified me to my core that it literally made me change my whole outlook on my entire town. Just like Nightmare on Elm Street caused me to kind of look at sleeping a little bit differently. I didn't want to go to sleep as much after seeing A Nightmare on Elm Street because I was afraid that Freddy might come and get me. And I didn't want to go out and walk around in my town, especially if there was fog around because of Silent Hill. So the fact that that game right there, Silent Hill 1 and 2, those games I should say, made me that terrified to walk around my hometown, that right there was exactly what I needed to know that Silent Hill is my favorite horror gaming franchise. When a game impacts you that much, and a game series impacts you that much, yeah, that right there is your favorite series out there. So after going through those two legendary experiences and losing the sleep like I did, like I mentioned, I made sure to play as many of these games as I possibly could, because at that point, like I said, Silent Hill had established itself as one of my favorite video game franchises, and it had overtaken Resident Evil for my favorite horror game franchise. Sorry, Capcom, not sorry. But in doing that, I had kind of ruined other horror games for myself because nothing could ever live up to Silent Hill. After playing through those games and then eventually getting into the third and fourth games, which I still love to this day, after playing those 4 masterpieces, nothing has been able to compare to those, okay? And so, yeah, that's the problem with being introduced to such a great franchise so early, is it ruins other horror games for you. So, I have a question for you all. After all of that being said, I have a question. What made you a Silent Hill fan? If you are a Silent Hill fan in this video here that is watching it, what made you a fan? Is it for the same reasons as me? Are your reasons different from mine? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to discuss this with you all. Also, if you haven't played Silent Hill yet, did I convince you to at least give it a look? Let me know. Again, down there in the comments. Love to discuss this with you. So that is how I got into the Silent Hill franchise and why it's my favorite horror gaming franchise. Not nearly as long-winded as some of my other stories have been, but still good nonetheless. I truly hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please be sure to let YouTube know you did by hitting that like button right down there, okay? Also, if you're new around here, you might want to consider hitting that subscribe button. It's next to the like button, and when you do that, and if you hit the bell too, you'll be notified whenever I upload. I upload twice a month, and I try to make it on a Monday at noon p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I also, if you are into live streams, I do stream on this channel twice a month. Also, if you want more gaming content, then be sure to check out my team, the Super Retro Force. We are a group of content creators that make retro gaming content, and you can check all that content out at the team channel, which is down in the description below. Or if you want to check out any of my other team members, all their links are down there as well. And if you want to chat with us outside of YouTube, then go to our Discord, which is also linked down in the description below. So, with all that being said, that is going to do it for the video. Have fun on the hunt, my fellow Belmonts. I will see you in the next video, and peace out.
Super Retro Force.